want to do about books, and I'm really excited about it. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about the books of the world's famous and renowned author, the Brazilian author that you might always have known of, Paulo Coelho. So why am I speaking about his books? In my previous video, in my introduction about this episode, I've always said that books have led me to understand what's all around me and what I'm feeling, even in the times when I felt isolated, when I changed my school, when new atmosphere was cropping up from everywhere. I had a lot of troubles going on with me, and something that made me realize what was really happening, what is happening in my heart, it was books. And most specifically, I would like to say it was his books. It made me realize what is happening with me, what is really happening around the world, how I was connected to this entire system, to this entire society, how everything works in our world. And it talks about our soul and how it's connected to the universe. And his writing, I would like to mention that his stories are not just stories. The most important thing is his literature, is his language. It is just mesmerizing. The word, I think it's perfect, it's mesmerizing. So the way he writes, at times I've always heard that the book or the character an author invents becomes more famous than the writer. But I don't think that's what's happening with Paulo Coelho. His writing is one of the most prolific of his times. And that's why I'm going to share about his literature and one of the most important books that I have read of him. I've read almost 5 books and I am going to share my review. And yeah, 5 books is nothing in his collection. I'll share more books when I've finished reading it. And there is his website. I'll just share the link to that in my description box below and on the I button above. So keep watching and let's go and review these books. When we are speaking about the books of Paulo Coelho, I think it's very conventional to start with The Alchemist, and I don't go by conventions. So I think I'll start with a book which I read first. This is Like the Flowing River by Paulo Coelho. So these are thoughts and reflections, and one of the most important things that I want to go and tell before you watch my video is that I am not giving spoilers. If you want to see the plot, go to Wikipedia and search the plot, because I am not gonna tell the story. I want you to read it. If you get the plot, you will lose your curiosity, and that's why you don't read. So the most important thing about this book that I had is that this makes you understand. Even if you are a person who likes a lot of books, it might be strange for you to enter the world of Paulo Coelho with a beginning if you are a beginner in reading. If you want to get familiarized with his writing, start with this book, because I don't know, I've read any other books which just have 2 paragraphs in a short story and yet it gets you enchanted. Yeah, that's what happens with this book. Every page, almost every page has a new story under a new heading, and that's what I'm saying. This book is not a story. These are his experiences. He was a great traveler, and all what he experienced, all what he learned in his travels are given in this book under different headings. And most of those insights are just very important for you in your life, for everyone in their life. Those are really great experiences that a person should really read. I'm gonna keep this book apart, and then we go to our next and most important book, The Alchemist, which is the most famous book Paulo Coelho has ever written. So let's check it out. Alright, so why is Alchemist so important? This story is about a shepherd boy, Santiago, and his recurring dreams. So these dreams are the way his heart spoke to him. So as we're not giving spoilers, I'm not going a lot about the story, but these dreams, this passion, in every book of Paulo Coelho, this is reflected. The same thought that your heart, your passion, your dream will speak to you, because it is your heart's greatest desire. And again, this is not a reference to the physical heart, which is the 4 chambers in your chest. It's about that abstract feeling. It's about your mind just uncontrollable. You wander into different thoughts. You watch a movie and you think about studying, and when you are studying, you think about watching a movie, and when you are doing both and you despise it, you just think about hearing music. That's your uncontrollable mind. And this mind, the conscious and subconscious mind, they merge. And at some point, they can always tell you your dream. When you dream about something so hard, in the words of Paulo Coelho, the whole universe can conspire in helping you achieve it. So that's it. This story tells about a dream. It tells about the explorations of a boy who had his dreams sticking to him. And the same situation is given to different characters in the story, and some of them are not going to achieve their dreams, but he does. And that shows that he needs it. This is not just motivation, this is not just a story, it is some enthralling adventure. It speaks about what you have to be, it speaks about what your heart says to you. And whenever I watch a Disney movie or something like that, I would always get the feeling that you have to listen to your heart. Just feel your heart, just feel that passion. And that's what this book is really about. And this is one of the most important and prolific writings of him ever, and I'm gonna keep it here. And let's do the review of the next book. This is one of the recent books that I've read, and it is By the River Pietra. I sat down and wept. So this book deals about two of the most fundamental emotions in a human. You've always heard that fear is the most powerful emotion in humans. I don't stick with that idea because fear is of losing. If you are afraid of a ghost, it is because you are afraid that ghost might kill you, and you are afraid that a ghost might kill you because you love your life. You are afraid of losing someone because you love them, and that is what the story is about. It is about discarding that self of yours which prevents you from taking decisions, that self of yours which prevents changes, that self of yours which is very reserved and which is not accompanying changes, which is not helping you or your heart's desires. This book teaches you about life and love and fear and loss and every earthly and human desires ever. It speaks about what humans are, what they want, and what they really feel in their heart. But yes, this book really has a lot of religious references, but that is not just religion. In the form of religion, it speaks about the Mother Earth, it speaks about the Mother Goddess, it speaks about how the nature is so well connected to you that you can feel those blessings. In every book of Paulo Coelho, the most important thing that I've seen is he's a spiritual writer, but that does not mean he's ascetic. It is that his books gives a connection between your soul and the soul of the universe. It is something that makes you understand that you are well related with this world that you're living in. And this book is an important book in one of the trilogies that he has written, and this is really important if you want to explore the nature of humans as ever. So the next most important book that I've read is The Devil and Miss Prim. This is the latest book that I've read about Paulo Coelho, and I really admire this book. So we human beings are really afraid of dilemmas, aren't we not? Yeah, we are afraid of dilemmas. And I think that's why they are called dilemmas in the first place, because you can't choose. You can't choose between this or that. In one place, one thing would be profit and the other thing would be your feeling. And I felt that in most of the movies that I see. And in most of those conditions, the character attempts suicide because they can't choose. And when you have a lot of options and you want each and every one of them, you are most probably or most likely prone to avoid the decision at all. But that's not what it should be. The world is full of dilemmas. You would have to take a lot of decisions. You would have to take a lot of choices. You would have to make something over the other. And everything happens in life. And this book taught me about it. It speaks about an entire village which is caught in a dilemma between good and bad, between evil and virtue. But however, this evil and virtue, this evil does not appear to be evil in the minds of the villagers because they desperately need it. And that is the greatest dilemma ever. And the protagonist, Ms. Chandal Prim, she gets into this story and she writes it. How can she do that? And that is why this book is so important. It speaks about fear, it speaks about our power, it speaks about our need, and it speaks about all those passion and desire, and it speaks about loss. And everything that I read in this book, I think it is deeply important in a human's life. And that's why I thought I would say about this in the middle of all the books that I've read. It is so behave in a dilemma, then this book is the answer to all of your questions. I don't know how this is so important, but I can just assure you that this will surely make a path shine bright ahead in front of you. So let's keep this apart and let's take the last book that I want to discuss about. So one of the questions that you might have in your mind is, why did I take this book to be given the review at the last? Is it a bad book? No, it's definitely not. I've not arranged these books in the terms of good to worst. I've just arranged this in the form of beginner to advanced. So I prefer a beginner reading this book at the beginning, because I want you to get familiarized with the world of Paulo Coelho, with his language, with his philosophy, and only with this book can you realize that if you will understand his world. And reading is about understanding, it's about discovering. So that's why I've kept this book at the last. It's not bad, it's just awesome. And one of the most intriguing factors about this book is that this has an average review in Google. This book does not have a really good review like The Alchemist or By the River Pietra. It has an average review. I remember it to be around 3.5. But why would I suggest such a book? Because I found it interesting. It is not just that I found it interesting. I have referred it to a lot of my friends and they've read it, and they surely said to me that this was something that they really wanted to read. It is some book which has an insight about different feelings of humans, and it's a crime thriller. I don't know if Paulo Coelho has written any other crime thrillers like this. This is really about a man and a woman, and a man who is after anything and everything to restore his feelings, to restore his passion, to restore what he loved the most. And one of the most intriguing things that I've read in this book and I've felt in the world is that if you can love a person so hard, you can also hate them that much. If you want something so badly, you can also reject it so badly, because you are a person who made the choice. And this book deals with a lot of such intriguing factors. And what I loved a lot about the narrating feature of this book was the non-linear feature. That is why I made this in the last, because it is a really tricky book to read, and it might get you in loops at times, and you might just lose what you were reading, or you might get out of track. So if you are really into the world of Paulo Coelho and you can read twisting novels, then this is the most appropriate book for you. If you're really in the world of Paulo Coelho and you can read twisting novels, then this is the best ever book for you to read. Why? Because this is not just a crime thriller, and it does not just speak about human passions. It speaks about human nature with a lot of curiosity in between. And it gives a lot of factors. Like, one of the most important narrating features that I've seen in this book is similar to what I saw in the book of Paula Hawkins and The Girl on the Train. What is similar between these two books is that the characters describe different parts. Each character gives their own account of things, and they all come and merge into a single plot in approximately the end of the story. And that's why this is so twisting and so interesting. This even gave me sleepless nights, and I've been around waking up till 12 o'clock and trying to complete this book, because I'm so interested in what the ending of this book would be. So I don't want to give even a single spoiler alert about this book, just that this book is concerned with Igor Malin and Eva Igor. That's what I just want to share about this book. This is really curious. And if you want to just know if any of these books and know about the plot, just refer Wikipedia or refer any other plot, because I won't do it, because I want that curiosity to remain in you. I want that curiosity to make you read these things aloud. Then first of all, reading is enchanting. And if you want to get so used to the world, he's the best author to start with. His writing does not beat genres. It is just his language that's mesmerizing. You can read any stories with it. And I really found it extremely comfortable. And when you are asking me about different genres, I think I'll be making a new video on Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things in my next video. And then probably in the coming weeks, we'll be discussing about Sherlock Holmes, my favorite crime thriller novel ever. I've been a great fan of the greatest detective fictional character in the world, and I've reread that book for almost 5 to 6 times, and I can't wait to give a review on it. And the thing that is, I don't want to give spoilers, it's just because I want you to read, and I am saying that again and again just because I want you to go fetch a book and read. And one of the most important things that I want to say, as always, is get a book. Don't just stop after you read. Perseverance is what matters. It's not just about completing a book. You just want to read a book, I want to complete a book, and you start taking a book and you read and you finish. That's not something that reading includes. Reading is some feeling that comes from your mind. It's some passion. It's a feeling of love that arises towards books. It seems that when you need a book, even if you are in the middle of a chaos, you just take on that book and you read and you get into another world. That's it, another world. Books are entirely a new and different world. Get into a launch. I'm not telling you to be lazy. Take a book and explore something that you have never seen. Something that maps cannot give you. Travel and read. Those are the two essential things about a human ever in their life. And this is Meenakshi signing off in Worldalicious. This is not just a crime thriller. It does not just speak about earthly passions.